Guys, I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Sunday. You may be watching the recording, but if you're watching the recording, it's okay. The information is still the same. I'm still the same guy. We're still having the same conversation, and it's still good. So anyway, I want to say hello to my tribe of intelligent Black people. It's good to be Black and intelligent today, and good to be Black and intelligent every day. I'm going to give you guys a chance to come into the live stream, and I will greet you as you come in. Hey, Lamarcus. Lamarcus is first. Yes, you are, brother. Yes, you are. Lamar Smith, Anitra Boyd. Let's see, Deirdre Rose. Good to see you. Good to see you. Everybody that's in here. Roy, Nick, Toy, African King. That's a great social media name, African King. Okay, who else I see in here? Who I see on Dr. Boyce TV? I see Sean, Anonymous. That what kind of name is Anonymous? What the hell is that? Lanika, Meeks, Mr. K Dizzle, EC, Sharita Young, Adore 300, David Carter, Milton from Dallas, Texas. Yes, EJ, I see Alona, Joe. All right, we're gonna have a good conversation today. I'm so happy to see you guys in here. Keep going, brother. Man, I don't know how to stop, man. I ain't never gonna stop. Can't stop, won't stop, don't matter. Rain, sleet, snow, or hail, happy, sad, feeling good, feeling bad. I'm gonna keep it moving, baby. This ain't gonna stop. It will stop. It will stop when I stop breathing. But even when I stop breathing, it really won't stop. It'll just be beginning. You know why? Well, because I made a very careful, very detailed estate plan with my will and trust and everything that I'm still working to put in place exactly where I want it. But I have some things in place so that I get a chance when I die to actually live in immortality. Immortality means that I will have systems in place. Immortality means I'll have institutions in place. Immortality means that I'll have mechanisms in place where I will probably accomplish more as a dead man than I am when I'm alive. You know, I want to be in that space. You know, I want to be one of those people that 100 years from now, there's $1 billion organization that is in existence because of the little things that I did right now. So it can't stop, won't stop. Also, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Very, very important. Please hit that thumbs up button like Tupac. Yeah, maybe Jussie Smollett gets to be the gay Tupac. Well, I get to be the scholarly Tupac. How about that? Yeah, I'm gonna ride on these fools. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna cuss today. I was about to say it in a more authentic way, but I'm trying. I promise you, I'm trying not to cuss so much. I can't help it, man. It's just, damn. All right, see, there you go. I just cussed, so I broke my vow, so fuck it. All right, so anyway, so do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button real quick before we get started. Go ahead and shout out your city, your business, or your dream. Your city, your business, or your dream. The Scholar Pod, that's nice. I'm gonna think about that. Maybe I'll just be 3POC. How about that? 3POC. All right, Lakeem Muhammad, thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot that you donated to the channel. We will put that money to good use, and we'll do great things for the Black community, and we'll spread the message of intelligent Black people all throughout the world. Because as you know, as intelligent Black people, we are in this endless battle. It's like Game of Thrones right now up in this mug. It's Game of Thrones because we're in a battle against ignorance. You know, the ignorant Negroes are winning by about 40 points because they got the backing of white supremacy. They got white people's money that's supporting and promoting their ignorance. So they're a tough opponent, but I believe we can win. So that's what intelligent Black people, that's what this platform is all about. It's the battle against ignorance, because ignorance is what keeps us enslaved. So let's see, I see the District of Columbia, Memphis, Tennessee, do work worth doing. I love that. The great hashtag, Mark. Stanley, let's say happy Palm Sunday if you celebrate. I don't. I mean, if I go to church, I might get struck by lightning because I ain't been there for a minute. I ain't gonna lie, but I respect the Black church. I will fight for the Black church. I will fight for religious freedom. That's one of the reasons why you see me speak on the whole anti-Black church initiative within the Democratic Party, where the liberals are basically saying that if you don't openly jump on everything that the LGBT people tell you to believe, that you're a bigot and all sorts. So I don't believe in that. You know, I will go to Chick-fil-A and give you a chicken sandwich with lemonade and not feel guilty about it, because I think there's a difference between being free and saying what you want versus being a hate group, right? You know, and that's what's happened. We've got to the point where if you don't say what people tell you to say, then they label you. They love to label people. Pay attention to the labels, right? They love to call you a phobia this and an anti that and what all this other stuff, and it's not fair. I believe in free speech. So let me see here. We're going to get to Nas and Kelis in 1 second. I just always like to greet you guys. I can't help it. I got to do that. Ardella, Southfield, Michigan, the financially literate Tupac. I like that. That's nice. Candy West, we will win. Yes, we will. DP Gaming, Las Vegas, Nevada. I see Southeast Washington from Cheyenne. Carrie from Harlem. Man, Harlem, very special community. Y'all getting gentrified too, though. I seen that shit. Let's see. Extra cheese from Syracuse. Nakia Clark, when is your Joliet event? If I'm in town, I'm there. I will announce it as soon as we get the date. My assistant's working on that. Why are you out here cooning for Mark Thompson? I'm not cooning for Mark Thompson. I'm speaking on what Mark Thompson has done toward me, and he's always been a good man toward me. But then again, if there's some coonery in action, then I'd like to know about it. And if so, then I will respond appropriately. But Mark Thompson is on Sirius XM satellite, and I know he's a good radio show host. But then again, maybe he was cooning. I don't know. I can't vouch for everything all my friends do. Like, I ain't talked to Mark in about 5 years, so you never know. Maybe he took a coon pill or something. But either way, though, my goal is to speak the truth, and that's it. So that's what it is. What it is. Anitra says, or Amphra says, I'm no longer Christian. People love to label me because I no longer believe in a white man as God. Good for you. But think for yourself. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Johnny Ortiz, what's going on, man? His brother Jeremy Ortiz is a hell of a rapper. Jay Ortiz, who actually is a black man. I was talking about Jay the other day because Jay actually went to Howard, and our 16-year-old, it's his birthday today. And, we walked in and sang happy birthday to him. We were like, happy birthday to you, right? And he's like, he's acting like he don't care, but we know he really cares. But yesterday he said he wanted to go to Howard. And that led me to tell him about Jeremy. And I said, Jeremy went to Howard. And I don't feel like Jeremy feels like he got his money's worth. Like, if you look at what Jeremy does now, he runs this business. It's called Art from the Heart. It's very, very successful. He's a rapper, but he also does fashion and everything else. And he's doing all these things business-wise that he didn't learn to do at Howard. So I think he's probably sitting there wondering, like, what did I spend $200,000 for? It doesn't mean Howard's a bad school. It just makes you wonder. It makes you have to rethink college, because college, we know that is sucking up black wealth. We know that black wealth is going to drop in this generation, largely because of student loan debt. Student loans, universities are what's taking your money. They're the ones who are sucking the wealth out of your community. Just know that. It does not mean you shouldn't go to college, but it does mean that we have to sort of rethink what it means to get an education that's going to help you achieve your goal. Like, for example, I told Alicia the other day, I said, colleges don't create millionaires usually. They don't create millionaires. I said, Sharif Abdul Malik, who runs WeBuyBlack.com, he went to Howard also. Not that we're picking on Howard, it's just me thinking about Howard and people, great people that come out of that school. And Sharif Abdul Malik runs We Buy Black, and I bet Sharif makes, I bet he makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, maybe millions, and he's young. He's kind of like a young Jeff Bezos. And the thing was, Sharif was telling me when I went to his convention, he was telling me that at Howard, he said, I wanted to learn business. So I went over to the business school because he was a social work major, I believe. And he said that the students in the business school knew nothing about how to run a business. He said most of the students in the business school only knew how to go work for a white man. That's all they know how to do. So at the end of the day, we got to ask ourselves, is it, are we really learning what we need to learn in order to do what we need to do? And what black people need to do is build. We don't have jobs, not because white people won't hire us. We don't have enough jobs because we don't have enough entrepreneurs. We need 1 million or 2 million entrepreneurs in this generation. It's very important. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me see here. Mark Thompson's a fraud. Dr. Boy, okay, wow. If he's a fraud, then I'll check it out. I'll look into it. But I'm tired of y'all calling every black person who don't agree with you a fraud. Fuck that, man. Quit that shit. Seriously, everybody, I'm exposing you as a fraud. You a fraud, nigga. You a fraud. Shut up. If you want to call somebody out for being a fraud, go find white people and call them out. Like, deal with white supremacy. Stop attacking other black people and thinking that that's going to lift you up. It don't lift you up to see another black man go down. So just stop it. Just quit that shit. Like I told you guys, 2019, I ain't really fighting with no black people. I will give you suggestions for improvement. I will let you know where I think you could do better. I will help you and support you if I can. But I'm not really into these nigga fights. It's stupid to me. It's dumb. It's some old crabs in a barrel shit, because our self-esteem is so low. We feel so pathetic. We feel so badly about ourselves that we won't go out and take on the white man. We like the worst, like the Eric Holder type gangbangers used to be back in the day. I'm not talking about the Nipsey Hussles. I'm talking about the Eric Holders. An Eric Holder-minded person, a nigga-minded nigga. Here's what a nigga-minded nigga does. A nigga-minded nigga will be very polite when white people come around. Like, because he's hoping white people will give him a job, maybe give him a record deal, maybe they'll be nice to him. But then when he sees another black person, it's like, kill that nigga. I hate that nigga. I'm gonna shoot that nigga down, right? That old Uncle Rucker shit. Like, seriously, I bet you anything, Eric Holder, who killed Nipsey Hussle, I bet you anything, Eric Holder, who went into the hood to go murder a black man that was respected by a lot of people, I bet you my last dollar that this old punk ass son of a bitch would never go out to a white neighborhood. He ain't gonna go out to Beverly Hills on a killing spree. He ain't gonna go out where other people live. He ain't gonna go roll up on the LAPD with guns blazing. But he's all kinds of a man when it comes to killing another black man. But you turn into a little bitch when it comes to standing up against your slave master. Man, shut up with that. Seriously. So if you in here talking about like, oh well, you so and so's a fraud, and I hate this black person, and Boyce, you're a fraud, you're this. Just go, because you need to just go and just apply for a job with the KKK. That's where you can get paid, because the KKK needs some good niggas like you who will go around and spread the gospel of white supremacy and destroy as many black people as possible. So if you're a black person that spends more time trying to destroy other black people than you spend trying to take on white supremacy, then you need to understand what team you're playing for. So if Mark Thompson's the fraud, then you're the bigger fraud, because you're up in here spending more time talking about this black man than talking about all the white people who've taken $1 million out of your pocket and are spending it on white people stuff every single day of the week. You know, seriously, I'm done. I'm not gonna keep talking about this. I'm just telling y'all that that's what it is. I came to that conclusion, and maybe I had some of that niggeritis injected in my DNA too, and I didn't understand it, but I figured it out. It took me a long time, but I figured it out. I said, wait a minute, Boyce. It does not benefit you to go fighting with black people and tearing them down, right? And literally, you know what, the example, I'm gonna be real with y'all. The example that I thought about the most was Umar Johnson. I thought about Umar Johnson, and y'all seen it in the past. You go back, me and Umar had it out. Like back 2015, 2016, we had a video, got 1 million views, 800,000, 700, something like that, right? Where I just laid into Umar big time. And here's the thing. A lot of my opinions about him haven't changed that much. It's not like I think he's the greatest thing in the world, but I was like, why do I really even need to go out here fighting Umar when I got all these other people out here I should be fighting? Like, seriously, if I gave him I think I gave like $25 or $50 to the school. I gave $5,000 to Freedom Home Academy International, but I did donate to Umar's school also. And I'm like, should I really spend my time trying to prove Umar's a fraud because he took my $25? Like, no, no, maybe I should go to Apple Computer, who took my $1,000 when I bought a computer from them, or go over to some other company where I spent $500 or $2,000. Maybe I should talk to my old landlords who charged me $10,000, $20,000 to rent property from them back in the day when I had an apartment. Maybe those are the people who are really robbing me. Maybe Umar is a guy who's just doing whatever he can the best way he knows how, and I should just like leave it alone. So seriously, I told you. So if you come to me about Umar and like, what do you think about Umar? I'll tell you a couple of things, but really I'm like, I don't really want to focus on that right now because that's not important to me. Attacking other black people just isn't that big on my agenda. I'd rather focus on white supremacy because I'm not a bitch and I will go after the bigger opponent. So take your bitch ass on and go and fight black people, because that's all you're willing to fight, because you're scared of white people. Eric Holder, people like him, people with that mindset, they go and they kill Nipsey Hussles because they are afraid to take on the LAPD. They are afraid to take on the real gangsters of Los Angeles. I mean, y'all go look at the Nipsey Hussle situation. Look at that. Look at what the LAPD is doing. First of all, there's that audio around where they were just talking saying horrible things about Nipsey's family. I hope that really wasn't them. They claim it wasn't them, but then somebody else says it was them, so I don't know. But it sounded like some cops talking to some other cops, so maybe it was another police precinct or another police district. But either way, saying horrible things behind their back, saying good things to the public, and then on top of that, saying good things to the public. But then what do they do? First thing they do is they go and they find Nipsey's friend that he was helping out, who just did 20 years in prison, and they arrest him. He just got shot in the back, if I'm not mistaken. Man's paralyzed for life, and you go lock him up for associating with a gang member. Seriously, man. I mean, so they don't care nothing about you. They don't love you. They can say whatever they want to say, but actions speak louder than words. So to me, again, Eric Holder minded bitch ass Negroes like that who are just built on attacking black people. I have no respect for you, because the reason you attack black people is because you're scared of white people. Eric Holder took on Nipsey Hussle because he was scared to take on the real gangsters that live in Los Angeles, which is the LAPD, which is all these other people, the big corporations coming in trying to gentrify your communities. You know, white folks talking about you like you're crazy, won't give you no jobs, won't help you out, won't support you with any tax support or anything that you need to build in your community, won't give you reparations for all the horrible things they did to South Central, but you want to go kill a black man. That means your thinking has to evolve. So that's it. All right, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. And I'm going to take 1 second and say thank you to Lakeem Muhammad for the donation. I appreciate you very much, my brother. And Stacy Doe. Stacy Doe's always up in the mix. I love you, Stacy. You are so wonderful. Thank you, sister. All right, so please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done this yet. Let's jump into our topic. Now, I get people to get mad and they say, well, it takes you too long to get to the point. Well, maybe it takes you too long to leave my goddamn channel. So if you have an issue with the way I approach things, then you probably shouldn't be here. So so people who don't like the fact that I talk about what my stream of consciousness, what God tells me to talk about, can just get out of here. So so that's it. All right, so let me move on. Let me jump into this Nas thing, and I'm gonna tell you why I wanted to talk about the Nas issue. Now, I'm gonna give you the story, and then I'm gonna give you some perspective on it. As a father, as a black man, as a human being, as a man who respects Nas, I respect Kelis as well. I don't know much about her. I know about her song, "The Milkshake," bringing the boys to the yard. I know about that. I know about their marriage. I remember they were very, very close. And there's a thin line between love and hate. That's one thing that you'll notice, is that a lot of times in life, the people that get mad at you, that hate you the most, they want to come and get you, a lot of times are the people that are emotionally attached to you the most, right? So somebody who's extremely close to you, if they are easily triggered, because black people, we love to trigger each other. That's what we end up doing. Like, I'm easily triggered, you're easily triggered, and I'm just triggering you, you're triggering me. So it's like two mouse traps, like sitting close together, and they're just snapping on each other, right? So basically, a lot of times the people that you're closest to are the ones that you end up fighting with the most. So I believe Nas and Kelis are fighting this hard because their love was so deep. I believe that they still love each other. I think if they got in a room, they could relight that candle immediately if they were able, if all those beefs were gone, or all those issues were pushed to the side and they were together, they would probably still be attracted to each other. So there's a real thin line between love and hate. In fact, some would say that love and hate are almost the exact same thing. So it's all built on emotional connection. So anyway, Nas and Kelis, they've been fighting in court for seemed like 10 years or something, 9 years, 8 years. And but anyway, according to The Blast, Kelis is headed to trial with Nas after denying that she violated their custody deal by taking their kid out of the country. According to court documents obtained by The Blast, Kelis entered a plea deal on Thursday of not guilty to 20 counts of contempt. A trial has been scheduled for June 20th, which is my birthday, by the way, where Kelis could be sentenced or to fines, or in extreme cases, jail time. Back in January, Nas filed court documents in his never-ending custody and support battle with the Milkshake singer over their 9-year-old son, Knight. I bet you that court battle's gotten more interesting since Nas is making all that money. I mean, last time I heard, I don't know, I can't count his pockets. I don't know exactly what he's got in his account, but I do know Nas has been connected with lots of major multi-million, billion-dollar deals in the tech industry. I mean, the man's just been genius with it in terms of parlaying the brand value of being a hip hop artist and using that to get around these nerdy white boys who want to be around rappers because they think rappers are cool. So and what the nerdy white boys know how to do is they know how to distribute and monetize your brand in order for you to get more money from your brand, right? So that's why you saw Ja Rule. Now, Ja Rule messed up, though. Ja Rule got linked with this group that started an app called Fire, Fyre. There's a documentary about that on Netflix. It ain't good. It wasn't good for Ja Rule. It made the whole deal look crazy and terrible. And in fact, I had my team actually watch the video as kind of a warning, or like a telltale on what can happen if you let greed get the best of you. So in Ja Rule's case, he linked up with the wrong white boy, wrong nerdy white boy. But in Nas's case, his nerdy white boy apparently is doing a good job. I mean, seriously, they're like these nerdy white boys are like their economic pets. Like, they all get one. Like, Dr. Dre's got his nerdy white boy. I think Jimmy Iovine, or whatever his name is, who helps him bring in hundreds of millions of dollars from his brand. Snoop's got his nerdy white boys that are helping him get into the weed business because they see the money. They don't care. I mean, they may care, but they're not so much into making the music. They're into like monetization and distribution, right? Which allows you to take a brand and to turn that into money. So I think it's a brilliant idea. Chameleonaire's got his nerdy white boys. Chameleonaire's doing a great job. There are a lot of Jay-Z's got his nerdy white boys. Now what I would like to see eventually is for these nerdy white boys to be black, because you got black men, young black men, and older black men, and young black women and older black women who are very, very smart, who know technology, who can do distribution and monetization like everybody else. And I would prefer to see those individuals get opportunities. So it is my hope that individuals like Nas are helping to create incubators and things like that, so that our people can get to the point where they can be the ones to help you monetize your brand. You're not just going off the white folks who are going to suck up, a big chunk of the money. But anyway, so Nas wanted Kelis to be found in contempt and claims she has violated their custody agreement 17 times since January 2018. In his affidavit for contempt, the rapper explained that he had an agreement with Kelis that she would have custody on Christmas and he would have custody on New Year's Eve. Okay, they live in separate cities, so I guess what? So he's at her house on Christmas, and then within 6 days he got to fly to his house. Wow. Okay, I guess it's not undoable. I mean, he's got a lot of money, but it's still a lot for a kid. He claimed in or around December 2018, Kelis moved to Cartagena, Colombia, and took the minor child without my consent. Nas said Kelis told him she intends to stay in Colombia and plan to tend a farm with her husband, who she claims is Colombian. He wrote, quote, "On Christmas, petitioner informed me by text message that although her plan had been to bring the minor child back to me in Los Angeles for New Year's, the plan had changed. She then stated that the new plan was to come back on January 4th, 2019. Okay, so it doesn't mean that it sounds like she's not saying that she's staying there forever. It sounds like she's saying, I'm just staying a few extra days. He claims that, but then he claims that Kelis did not return to LA on January 4th, but instead made him wait until January 14th before bringing the child back into the US. Nas also said he was unable to reach or speak with his child during the time he was in Colombia. And they do have, I was in Colombia this year. They do have phones in Colombia, and they got damn good Wi-Fi. So I don't know why that would happen. It is what it is. Nas accused Kelis of willfully violating the custody order and refusing to allow him to see his son. He also claimed Kelis refused to pay $8,000 in sanctions she was ordered to pay previously. Now, this is interesting. This is sad. I mean, well, first of all, situations like this are just sad, right? I mean, it's just sad when you see, two people madly in love, like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I'll die for you, I'll kill for you. And then going into like, I used to say I will kill for you. Now I just want to kill you. All right, that right there bothers me. That makes me very, very sad. In these situations, just know, I mean, if you are a parent that is fighting with another parent, just know that the number one victim of your fight is going to be your child, right? So if you love your child, you will fight to not fight. You will fight against the fight. If you love your kids, you will do all you can to not allow it to get to the point where the child even has to witness any kind of chaos or feel like they have to pick sides or feel like that you're somehow sabotaging something or doing something horrible to them, right? So I hope that we agree with this. If you agree, say I agree. Please tell me I agree. Again, I'm gonna let you guys tell me you agree. Actually, while I say thank you to Shyanne's mama. Thank you, Shyanne's mama, for your donation. I appreciate it. I didn't acknowledge my donors in here. I appreciate you guys so much. Imani, Daybro, thank you so much for your support. And who else is in your black world? I see Super Tech. He says, a bit off topic. Did you see the video of those cops in New York kicking in the door with no warrant? Man, there's so many videos of cops doing horrible things. You just run out of energy. Right? I don't know about you guys, but it drains me emotionally when I feel like every day I have to find some other reason to be sad about being black. It's a lot. It's a lot. Doesn't mean you don't keep fighting, but sometimes you got to rest so you can keep fighting a little longer. Like right after Albert Wilson's situation, and I mentioned my support for that and how I want to get involved and help, I started getting all flooded with all kinds of stuff, from people that were telling me about injustices in their own communities. And it's hard to fight on all this. It's hard to muster up enough emotional energy to go fight on every single one and really fight the way it needs to be fought. And that's why I appeal to you guys, like, help me in these fights, or help your community, not help me. It ain't about me, but like help your community, like if you just share the video, if you give a little bit of money, if you do something to support whatever you see going on, that means a lot, because I'm convinced that together we can do anything, but individually I can only do so much, right? So no need for black superheroes. We all need to be our own superheroes. So thank you for saying that you agree with this. Okay, so we agree that the child is the number one person that you need to consider when you are thinking about your fighting. Like when I talk to Alicia, I remind Alicia all the time, not that anybody has a perfect relationship. I'm not even gonna put us on that pedestal, but I talk about it because maybe there are younger people that can benefit from an example or something, or an example of a black man who deeply, deeply loves a black woman and ain't afraid to say it in public. I think every black man should, if you love a black woman, say it in public. Even if the black woman is your mama or your sister or your daughter, right, or whatever. Like black men should say should recite publicly their love and affection for black women. But at the same time, there are times where when we get into it, like we get to scrapping and get to going back and forth and we jogging. Oh, D. Thomas says, I love black women. Okay, I thought you said, so wait, Black Boston said, I love all women. Well, you do know R. Kelly said that too, right? You do know that, right? In the bogus interview he did with Gail, where Gail was trying to make the black man the face of predatory behavior. But anyway, so we'll get into it, and there'll be times where I'll say, we need to stop this. Like really, we shouldn't be fighting with each other. I'm not the enemy and you're not my enemy. The enemy is the conflict itself, so we must work together as a team to figure out how we can avoid the conflict. So how are we going to fight the fight, or how are we going to fight to avoid the fight? Like that's the only thing we should be fighting for, is how we can avoid fighting, right? And that's really a great, I think, template for the entire black community. Seriously, when I think about people maybe in the community who want to fight me or whatever, my thought is like, well, please call me, and let's get on the phone so we can fight to avoid fighting. So we can fight to find our common ground. We're going to analyze this with a fine-tooth comb and find the areas where we can agree and where we can agree to disagree, so that we can avoid fighting and maintain peace, so that both of us win. Because I'm gonna tell you, if I fight your ass, you're gonna lose. You're gonna be bleeding. But the reason I don't want to fight you is because I'll be bleeding too. Right? Because there's no winner in a fight. There's only the biggest loser. There is no winner. Everybody loses. The question is, did you lose by 50 or did you lose by 1,000? Right? Or whatever, right? Or something in between. So there is no winner in a fight. So when parents fight, when Nazi and police are in court fighting each other, attacking each other, dogging each other, calling each other names out in public, my God, the whole globe is watching you fight. Ain't no such thing as somebody who's gonna come out of it looking good. There's a saying that says, when two people are fighting, to a distant observer, they both look like idiots. To somebody who stands, so it don't matter if they started it and they did it first or whatever. If you fighting with an idiot, you're gonna look like an idiot too. So anyway, so with the Kelis thing, somebody said, where did I get the shirt? I have no idea where I got the shirt, and I wish I could tell you where I got it. I just go places and people give me shirts. That's the coolest thing about this job, is like free shirts. Everywhere I go, people give me t-shirts. And if you give me your shirt, I'll try to buy it if I have money in my wallet. But if I don't have any money, like people say, like, here, wear it. I'm like, okay, great. But I can't remember every single shirt, or every person that gave me a shirt. I apologize for that. But look up Hustleaholics online. Maybe you can find it that way. Or maybe their website is hustleaholics.com or something like that. All right. So here's the thing. So with Nas and Kelis, obviously this is sad. The thing about this too that's really fascinating, I think, on an inductive level, meaning, if you extrapolate this and you talk about the community, because this ain't about Nas and Kelis. This is not about, I didn't talk about this because I want to gossip about their situation and what happened with him and her and their child. It's really about us, right? Like, tell me if you know of any situation where you have a father who is upset because he can't see his child. Like, tell me if you've seen any situation where a father, or maybe you are that father, who wants to see their child more, or somebody who loves their kids, and they feel like they have no rights. They feel like all the power is in the hands of the other person, and they can't get a chance to be around their children. Tell me if you know somebody like that. I know several people like that. D the businessman says, I live that. I have too many times, says Tracy. Paris says Dr. B. Okay, let's see. I don't see what else you said. Okay, my son. Yeah, it happens all the time in our community. And one of the things that's fascinating to me is that I think it's because of the way the black man is seen in our society. The black man is seen as a predator. He's seen as ignorant. He's seen as somebody who does not love his own children. He's seen as irresponsible. He is seen as abusive. He is seen pretty much as a virus in society, like a rodent. I believe, my theory is that because the black man is seen in such a horrible, vile sort of way, that these stories are almost never told about what the fathers go through. Like, they got stories all day about women that deal with horrible men. The men that don't pay child support. that makes you a scumbag. If you're a black man, you ain't paying you ain't taking care of your damn kids. I say fuck you. Like you're a horrible person. Don't do that. Or better yet, you might not be a horrible person, but you're acting like one, right? You should be providing for your kids. You hear stories all day about black men attacking women or abusing women, right? Which again, a bad thing. If you're doing that, stop it, please. You hear those stories all day long. You hear about scenarios where the black man is the perpetrator all day. But what you don't hear about are the situations where the black man is the victim, right? Because we can't, as a society, even fathom the idea of a black man being a victim of anything. Because the black man, in the minds of most people, they see the black man as, a person that doesn't have emotion. Like nothing hurts you emotionally. You're not a person who's going to sit and cry because somebody won't let you see their child, and then you'll see scenarios that the situations that really bother me is when somebody has a baby with somebody and they choose the wrong person to have a baby with. They choose somebody they can't get along with, and next thing you know, and it's no shame in that. I mean, I had a child out of wedlock when I was 18, and I learned from that. I didn't have any more out of wedlock kids afterward. I had God kids. I adopted. I scooped up kids along the way, but I didn't have any more. But I have one biological child. And so I'm not sitting here talking from a position of perfection, but we know what's going on in our communities. We know 76% of our kids are born out of wedlock and are being raised without a father in the home. What bothers me a little bit is when people have a baby and act like they made that baby all by themselves. And because somebody told her she's a strong black woman who don't need no man, or all these niggas ain't shit, or black men are garbage, that person may feel that they have rights that the other parent doesn't deserve to have, right? Like, for example, the baby goes to your house and maybe she's like, well, I need to know about that bitch who's up in your house. I don't know her. So no, she cannot, my child can't go in that house because I don't know who she is, right? Now, what's interesting though, is I can't think of any scenarios where fathers are allowed to say to a mother, like, well, your new boyfriend or your friends that you're bringing to the house, I don't know those people. You can't have my child in the house with these people that I don't know, right? Nobody questions the rights of the mom in that particular regard, but we will question the rights of the father. We will talk about the father like he only has rights that are granted or given by the mother. I don't think that's right. I think, again, maybe in extreme situations, he's a crackhead or he is carrying guns and murdering people, you can go to the court and present evidence and say this is evidence that he's not a fit father. But a lot of times, denying the father his rights might come down to somebody just being pissed off at you and deciding that they're going to make you pay, and they're going to make you pay by not letting you see your kids. And in that particular situation, you are number one, you are abusing your child. So you are a child abuser. You should be guilty of child abuse because you're taking the child's ability, you're taking away the child's right to decide who their father is and whether or not they want to have a relationship with that man. He might have been a guy that broke your heart. He might have cheated on you. He might have disappointed you because he didn't marry you, or whatever it is that you might be feeling toward him. But that has nothing to do with the child, right? So like I can think about it like this. My dad, I'm sure my dad was he was a man. He lived his life. I'm sure things happened with him and my mother. But you know what? As a kid, I gave zero shits about my parents' relationship. I did not care if my mother or my father felt that the other person was not a good spouse. They loved each other. They've been married 45 years. But even if they had hated each other and gotten a divorce, it wouldn't have mattered to me. In my mind, I have a relationship with each of you. I have a mother here and a father here, and I don't want anybody taking that away from me. So the worst thing you can really do to a child, honestly, is to take away that other parent. I mean, if you really want a child that becomes suicidal or depressed or ends up in therapy for the next 30 years, take their daddy away. Just make sure they have no daddy, so they grow up and they have horrible relationships with men. They end up dating some pimp, drug dealer, gangster killer, piece of crap dude who, because she feels like he's the only father that she ever had, or because she's got this void in her soul because her daddy wasn't around. Like do that to your child and watch how fucked up your child becomes. Like your child will literally be in the crazy house by the age of 30. And the thing is, we don't think about that. We don't think about the long-term implications. You might see the other parent as as a virus in your life. You might see them as something that needs to be eradicated, like, oh my God, this person is poisonous. I need them away from me. I need them out of my life. And because the child is a part of you, you may feel that you're benefiting the child by taking this virus out of their life. But the child may not see the other parent the way you see them. They probably won't, unless you get real dirty with it. Let me tell you about that. That's what they call there's a term for it. If you ever want to, commit emotional rape, if you ever want to commit child abuse, there's a term for this strategy that can be used to align you and your child so much that you form a very unhealthy codependence, and that's called parental alienation. Tell me if you've ever heard that term. Yes or no? Yes or no? Has anybody ever heard this term, parental alienation? Tell me if you've ever heard this term. Anybody? Yep. Okay. Cheyenne, Ramona, Bridget. Okay. Okay. NVS says no. Proknep says yes. Yes, I have. Okay. Jeffrey, no. Jill, yes. Okay. So we got a little bit more than 50, maybe 60% of you have heard it. Let's talk about it in more detail. Parental alienation. Let me pull up the definition here. Now, again, I'm not accusing Nas or Kelis of doing this because I don't know them. But if there was an agreement for Nas to have his child at a specific time, and you don't give him his child when he's supposed to have his child, then you have kidnapped his child, right? If Kelis says my baby's supposed to be in my house with me, every single night, and the father just decides he wants to come and take the child and disappear for 2 weeks, he's going to jail. The next headline will be rapper Nas arrested on the run with his child in tow. He will be going to jail for that. So if your child is supposed to be at his daddy's house on the 2nd of the month, and you decide, well, I'm just going to keep him until the 14th, well, then you have kidnapped your child. That is no different from Nas coming to their house and taking the child away and saying, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Deal with it. You can't do that. So parental alienation, actually April, believe it or not, is Parental Alienation Awareness Month. And this is a website called dadsdivorce.com. And basically it says that when you talk about parental alienation, there are a few factors. This is from Dr. William Burnett, who's the president of the Parental Alienation Study Group and professor of psychiatry at Vanderbilt University. Dr. Burnett reviews the 8 criteria for diagnosing parental alienation that were originally developed in 1985 by Dr. Richard Gardner. These 8 symptoms all occur in the child rather than either parent. Although Dr. Burnett cautions that the symptoms still need to be studied further, he says they have held up well as indicators of parental alienation. So here are some signs that somebody is manipulating the mind of the child to get them to alienate the other child. And when you do parental alienation, what you've effectively done is you have poisoned your child. You've poisoned them to the point where they have no ability to rationally or logically see the other parent anymore. The other parent, they could come in and say, happy birthday, here's some ice cream. And the child will say, my dad's a bastard because the ice cream was chocolate and I really want a strawberry. And that just shows how irresponsible he is because he ain't shit, right? Or, the dad could call up and be like, hey, how you doing, baby? And the child could be like, well, look, there he is. He's got toxic masculinity. So he uses the word baby because he has no respect for women, right? Like literally everything that, that comes out of the father's mouth or the other parent's mouth becomes toxic. Now, fathers can do this to mothers, and, but most cases it's the other way around because the mothers have the custody of the child. The parent who lives with the child has more power, far more power than the non-custodial parent. So whether that parent decides to show respect to the non-custodial parent will determine how that child sees that other parent. In fact, now that I think about it, I remember I used to coach a track team with kids on the track team, and most of these kids had single parents. Most of them had single moms, and I remember that some of the kids were good kids who showed respect. Some of the kids were horrible kids who showed no respect. And there'll be conflict all the time. And then when I met the parents, it really gave me a deeper understanding of what the child was. It reminded me that the apple does not fall far from the tree. And what I noticed is that the kids who showed respect to me, the kids who respected me as an older male authority figure, they tended to have mothers who also respected the fathers. Mothers who, would make sure that the child was with the father, who wouldn't speak bad about the father, who, maybe the father was still in the house or whatever. The kids who did not show respect to us as coaches, and most of the coaches were men, were the kids who, in many cases, and at least a couple of cases I remember, had mothers who spoke very ill, very negatively of the father. And they made the one of the biggest cardinal sins you make as a parent, which is they would say these things in front of the child. I don't care if your child's father is Jeffrey Dahmer. If you made the choice to sleep with Jeffrey Dahmer and make a baby with Jeffrey Dahmer, he went out and murdered 100 people. The child don't need to hear it from you. The child don't need to hear none of your editorials about what you think about the other parent. Same thing with fathers. Same thing with fathers. You do not spend time telling your child, oh, well, your mama's a hoe, or your mama's a liar, or your mama's this, or your mama's that. That is very damaging to the child. That will really hurt the child's feelings, because no child wants to hear bad things about their mama. Nobody. That's why I feel bad for like these kids when like I think about the Kardashian kids and how they're gonna feel when they grow, or not the Kardashian, Kanye's kids, when they grow up and find out that their mama got famous because she did a sex tape. That's traumatizing. Just put aside $1 million for therapy, because they're going to need it. And also get them some boxing lessons, because kids will bully the living fuck out of them, and they're gonna have to fight every day. Just so you know, they're gonna have to fight. So anyway, moving on. So here are some symptoms of parental alienation. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't hit the thumbs up button. And I want to welcome you guys to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. If you want to support intelligent Black media throughout the world, you can go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Also, don't forget that we're on iTunes, so you can look for my name on iTunes and download and subscribe on iTunes. All right, so the first sign of parental alienation is what they call denigration. The campaign of denigration is when the child repeatedly complains about the parent over and over again. In fact, that's often the first thing the child says when he or she comes into my office. They will say, Dr. Burnett, let me tell you some things about my father that he did wrong. That's the campaign. Even though they have these complaints, the justification for the complaints are frivolous. So the child will complain about the parent, but they won't really necessarily be able to tell you exactly why they feel that way. And the reason they can't is because it's really not their emotion. They're just transmitting something they heard from somebody else. I remember there was a kid at a school that my goddaughter went to, and I remember that the kid was like going to school, and they were saying to the teacher, they said something like you're racist, and it was like making things difficult in the classroom. And then I talked to the mom, and I saw the mom in front of the child saying, yeah, that teacher is so racist. That teacher is so racist. And so kids do this, right? Tell me if you remember this, if you did this as a kid. Like, kids repeat what their parents say because what their parents say is gospel. So I, remember repeating what my mama said, because I didn't know any better, right? So basically the denigration of the other parent, if the child hears if the child constantly hears their mother say, your daddy ain't shit, or your daddy think he better than everybody else, or your daddy is an asshole, or your daddy did it, he did it again, he's irresponsible again, then the child's going to pick up on that. I remember the first time I met my biological father. I did not meet him till I was 15. I met him again when I was 23, and I have not talked to him since. I don't know much about the man. I don't even know enough about him to even dislike him or like him. I had a great father that raised me in my house, so I wasn't missing anything. I love my dad tremendously, the one that raised me. So the other guy, the sperm donor, I just say thank you for giving me life. But after that, there's really been no desire to form a deeper relationship. Maybe that'll happen 30 years from now, so who knows. But anyway, I remember when I went to his house and he wasn't there. First time I went to the house, and I was listening. I was 15. I was picking up on stuff, and I did not. Nobody said anything negative about him, but I could tell that he was not quite on the right path, right? I could just tell. And I could tell because I remember hearing his mother say something like, well, he'll get it together one day. And I was like, oh, so him getting it together one day means he ain't got it together today, right? So he got one, but he ain't got two, right? You're giving him one because he ain't got two. One day he'll get it together because he ain't got it together today. Okay, I get it. I see. I picked up on that, right? So kids will pick up on that. So even if you think that you're not dissing the other parent, you got to be real careful about that, because kids will peep that out. And what happens is the mother I know with me, when my mother co-signed on something, I saw that as validation for my own behavior, right? So if my mama respected you, I respected you. You know, if my mama didn't respect you, then you got no respect from me, right? Kids will do that. And so even with the mother of one of my god kids, my goddaughter that lives in Denver, she and I have a very close relationship, and we do things together, and it's really great. And I had to thank her mom. I said, I thank you for raising your daughter in a certain way, because the only reason your child respects me is because you respect me. If you did not respect me, she would disrespect me. So you got to understand the power that you have as a parent to shape how your child sees the other parent. Here's another symptom of parental alienation: frivolous rationalization for the complaint. Frivolous, that means bad rationalization. So the child will give some silly reason for not wanting to ever see their targeted parent again. So they'll ask the kid, so you want to go see your daddy? And they'll be like, no, I don't ever want to go see him anymore. And then they'll be like, well, why? It'll be like, well, because I don't like it at his house. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, maybe if his house is nice and it's whatever, I just don't want to go. Right? They can't give you a logical reason why, because it's been planted in their subconscious. Your subconscious tells you you want things, but you don't know why you want them. Like, you may love the color red. You don't know why you love the color red. And then maybe one day somebody tells you, well, when you were a little baby, you used to have a red ball that you played with all the time. And that made you love the color red, because every time the red ball came, you would start laughing, right? But you don't remember that. But subconsciously, you just love the color red. My little brother, who's now in his 30s, and I used to change his diapers when he was a baby. It's funny. I told my brother, I said, when you were little, we used to watch Taxi, the TV show Taxi, and you would go to sleep, and I wanted you to stay up so that you would sleep in and not get up so early, because I had to get up early and change your diapers and all that, and I wanted you to sleep in so I could sleep in. So I would keep waking him up, and we'd be watching Taxi like at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. And he said, I never understood why I always love the show Taxi. I watch the show Taxi and it just relaxes me. And I'm like, yeah, because you used to watch it when you were, 6 months old. So the subconscious mind is a very powerful thing. So what I argue is that the reason that the child can't explain why they don't want to see the other parent is because on a subconscious level, they've been trained to hate the other parent. Let's see here. Okay. So let's see. Lack of ambivalence. That's the third symptom. Lack of ambivalence. They said a really interesting symptom is called lack of ambivalence. Now, let's see what that means. When we have relationships with people, they're usually ambivalent in the sense that there are some good points and some bad points. So ambivalence in this context means basically that if you talk about people in your life, you could talk about good things about them, bad things about them, right? There's nobody, like I always tell you guys, there's no such thing as a good person or a bad person. There are bad people who do good things and good people who do bad things. Like Bill Cosby, for example, is not a bad guy or a good guy. He is a good guy who did bad things, or he could be a bad guy who did good things. But either way, you can't say that Bill Cosby has not done good things in his life. After all, he gave 100 times more money to HBCUs than any of these lame ass celebrities have given to this day. Ain't no celebrity came close to matching Bill Cosby's $20 million that he gave to Spelman back in 1988, which would actually be about $40 million now in 2019 dollars. So you show me a celebrity that's given $40 million to Bill Cosby, and I'll shut the hell up. But so at the end of the day, when you talk about Bill Cosby, if you really understand him and you're really trying to be fair, you won't say, oh, well, Bill Cosby's just a rapist. He's just a this, he's just a that. No, if you're being fair, you'll say, yeah, he was a son of a bitch because he did that wrong. And then he might have done these other things wrong, but there's no proof. Yeah, but he did do these things that were really good. That like Fat Albert, Bill Cosby, The Cosby Show, A Different World were great shows. But then also at the same time, he did actually talk down on black people. So he kind of sucks for that. So you will show ambivalence. You will show that ability to objectively analyze something if you're really thoughtful about it. Now, here's what you do when you don't have ambivalence, which is what they say happens to a child when they've been the victim of parental alienation. They are victims because somebody did this to them. He says, for almost everyone we know, we can think of some good qualities and not so good qualities about the person. The children who are victims of parental alienation have a lack of ambivalence, meaning they see one parent as totally good and the other parent as totally bad. Right? I talked with one child who said he talked to a child who said, my mother is an angel and my father is a devil. So if your child thinks of their other parent as the devil, then you have not done a good job with your child, and you have stolen your child's ability to have a father or to have a mother, depending on which parent it got wiped out of the equation. When you do that, you are disrupting the balance that was set by God for a child to have two parents of two genders who have two different perspectives that can give them two types of protection and support in this world. You might think that you're helping your child by keeping your 31-year-old baby, your 31-year-old son under your nipple, until he's 50 years old, and you're protecting him from his dad. But the truth, the reality is that you might not be helping him. You might actually be hurting him. So anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep going. In fact, when I think about the thing with 50 Cent, and 50 Cent and his son hate each other. Like, they really have like this major serious hatred toward one another. And I remember when I saw this, I felt so bad. I said, this ain't nothing but pain. Like, this ain't nothing but two hurt people going off in public. And so on one hand, I was thinking, gosh, I think 50 Cent should try to find a way to be the mature one in this situation. I don't see why or where he would, see any benefit to arguing with a child, right, on Twitter, right? It just doesn't make any sense. But then I saw, also some of what the kid did. And I think the kid found the guy who tried to murder his father. And he found the son of this guy, and he took a picture on Twitter with the son of the guy who tried to murder his father. So that's like trauma on top of trauma on top of trauma, right? So think about this. A man tries to murder you. You're traumatized from that. When you got shot 9 times, he was behind it. If I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm getting this not totally right, but I believe that's the story. So you got shot up by this dude, almost died, whole life flashed before your eyes. You've been traumatized ever since. And your son takes a picture with the son of the man who tried to murder you, smiling and cheesing. Now they say his son didn't know who that dude was. So maybe that's the case. If that's the case, then it is what it is. But either way, 50 Cent knew who the dude was, right? His daddy knew who the dude was. So I know personally, if that happened to me, I'd probably be a little bit upset, right? Now, whether we'd handle it the way 50 Cent would, I don't know, because he's kind of on the immature side. Let's just be real. Let's be honest. He's a little immature. But I think that it's just sad. It's just sad. And I think that if I were in this situation, I think the person who should probably want this beef squashed the most will be the mother. Like the mother, because the only person who can really squash this beef entirely, I think, is the mom. If the mom does not support or encourage the son to engage with his father, then there's a good chance he won't do it. So 50 Cent could call up, he could, send gifts, he could call or he could go by the house and offer to, throw out an olive branch and try to make peace. But if the mother is still reflecting some sort of hurt or irritation or anger toward the father, then the son is going to pick up on that, because sons want to protect their mothers. So I wouldn't, I know that if a man hurt my mama, I sure as hell wouldn't want nothing to do with him. I don't care what he did. I don't care how nice he was. Anything he did that was nice, I would think he was trying to fool me into betraying my mother, right? It would only be once I got my mother's blessing that I would actually feel free to feel that it's okay to engage with him. Seriously. So let's see here. Let's see. I'm looking at your comments. Brother Boykins, it's actually Watkins, but it's okay. It's okay. I can be Boykins today for you, Armando. No problem. You are very supportive of Black men, more importantly, Black people overall. Yeah, and I don't, there are times when you'll hear me support Black women. Obviously, I talk about my support for Black women all the time. You guys hear that. But also, I feel like brothers just ain't nobody really advocating for brothers. Ain't nobody, all they trying to do with Black men, all the time they want something to do with you is when they can make money off you from sports or entertainment, or they throw your ass in jail and make money off you in prison. That's all they want from Black men. There's nobody out here really telling the truth about Black men. And that's why we created Black Men United. Me and Andre C. Hatchett, we launched that organization. If you want to join Black Men United, you have to be a Black man to join, though. Because it's for brothers only. All the material is targeted for Black men. But if you want to join, you can go to blackmenunited.net. That's blackmenunited.net. And I also want to say thank you, give a shout out to the Black women who advocate for Black men. Because you think about it, it's a symbiotic relationship. Because if Black men go down, we all go down, because Black men are in your family. That's your brother, your father, your son. Like, whoever told you that it's okay for you to hate the other gender? Without the other gender, you wouldn't exist. So any Black man or Black woman who's taught to hate, a Black man who's taught to hate Black women, I think something's weird about you, man. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Without a Black woman, you would not be here. And in fact, actually, I saw this. Did y'all see yesterday where I was running And on the trail, we were running through the woods. On the trail, there was this goose, and it was like a goose with an attitude, a GWA. This goose was sitting there, right? He was standing in the middle of the trail, like some old gangster shit. Like you're not walking, you're not coming past here. And I'm like, oh, it's just a bird. We're gonna jog right past the bird. Shoot, just go on your bird. No. When we got closer to the goose, we just looked at him for a minute, and he's staring right at me, like just looking at me, like what set you from, nigga? You know, like really giving me like that look, like damn. I'm like, okay. And I took a step forward, and he stuck his tongue out. He was like, and Alicia was like, she's like, well, you know, that's like that threatening, like he wants to fight you. And I'm like, well, what can a goose do? Like, he's a goose. Like, and she's like, no, gooses are very violent. Be careful. And then we took another step closer, and his wings started to kind of lift up, right? Like he was ready to fight. And so I'm sitting there, and we're just sitting there trying to say, okay, what do we do? Because he looks like he's ready to attack. And then his chest starts sticking out, you know, like this. And then when he took one more step forward, his neck got really long. Like he was really getting into like this weird thing, like his whole body was having an erection or something, like he was ready to fight. And the reason that he was in this fighting position was because his woman was right there sitting on some eggs that were about to hatch. And he was like, she's in labor, or we're about to have this baby, and you're not going to interfere with that, or I will do everything in my power to kill you. Like, you are not passing on this trail while my woman is about to give birth to my kids. And I thought about that, and I said, this is so fascinating. I said, if the feminists were here, they would say that you're filled with toxic masculinity. Like, that's toxic masculinity. A man bucking up and acting all masculine like he's supposed to protect the woman. The woman don't need no protection. She a strong black goose woman. She don't need no man, right? That's what they teach you. That's what the Democrats, everybody been teaching black women for so long, which most of y'all are smart enough to ignore this, that you don't need no man. Men are bad. Men are toxic. No, she was able to chill and relax and sit on the eggs because her man was like, baby, I got this. He's like, yeah, he's human. He weighs 10 times more than me, but I'm about to fuck him up if he comes in here and disrupts what we got going on up in my house. And I just thought that was interesting because people will talk to you and they'll teach you this stupid stuff in school, like, oh, well, toxic masculinity, it's taught in our society. We teach our boys to play with trucks and guns and to be aggressive, and we just need to teach them to be more feminine and teach them to be like girls, and that there is no such thing as gender. It's a figment of your imagination. Well, that goose never went to any of those schools. He never got any of those lessons. Nobody taught him to be masculine. Nobody taught him that it was his job to guard the fort while it was her job to sit on the eggs. Like, nobody told him that. They didn't get a training manual on gender roles for geese. They didn't go to college. They just knew. God put this inside of each of them to just know what your role was, to play your position. And I thought that was really fascinating. And I gave the goose his respect. Because I was like, shoot, I know my daddy taught me, like, you better be careful when you run up against somebody who's ready to die for what they believe in. And I could tell that goose was ready to die to protect his family. And I thought it was fascinating. So you know what I did? I took my black ass, I turned around, and I said, all right, player, you go ahead. Good luck. Good luck with your baby. I hope it's a boy or a girl or whatever. Good luck to you. I'm about to go. And he let his neck down, and his feathers went down, and his chest kind of came in a little bit. And he's like, that's what I thought. And so to me, I just really thought, that's just such a reminder that you got to stop listening to what people are telling you about the way things are supposed to be. There's nothing wrong with a man being a man and a woman being a woman, as long as you ain't hurt nobody. And children need their mother and their father. If those little baby geese did not have their father, then anybody could have came along and stepped on those eggs, killed their mother or whatever. She wouldn't be able to relax. She'd be like a lot of single moms, trying to be the man and the woman at the same time, trying to be the father and the mother. Well, if you spend half your time being the father, you're not going to be as good of a mother as you would be if you could focus on one particular task. Instead, we got a society where we're training our mothers to multitask. Well, sometimes on Tuesday and Thursday, you got to be the daddy, and on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you get to be the mama. But that's only until 6 o'clock, until you have to buck up on your son like a dude and threaten to body slam him because he won't do what you say. Like seriously, like that's not natural. Like it wouldn't be, that geese couldn't be, or that goose, that female goose could not be a good mother if she was up here trying to protect the nest and lay the eggs at the same time. It's very difficult, right? So I think that, you know, we should probably at least start conversations like this. I know these are controversial discussions. I know that y'all don't want to hear some of this shit from me. Some people are like, boy, shut up, just talk, stick to finances. And I just tell them I can't talk about building Black wealth and Black economic power if you ain't talking about building Black family, because family is the foundation of economic power. Most powerful, wealthy families are wealthy because they have strong family. Anybody here watch Game of Thrones, or am I the only nerd who watches that show? Game of Thrones ain't nothing about wealth and power, and it's all built on family. They got they all these different houses that are built around families. They got House Tyrell, House Lannister, House Stark, right? And all of these are families that are fighting for wealth and power as family units. Each family has a military, each family has its resources, each family has its stronghold, its home ground that it protects. So if you ain't got family, you can't really have wealth. So it would be stupid for me to talk about Black wealth without talking about Black family, because we know that the Black family is struggling. And the reason Black wealth is declining is largely because the Black family has been destroyed. That's why the median net worth of a single Black woman is $5. The median net worth of a single Black mother is $5. And I bet for the single Black man, it ain't too far away from that. Because a lot of our brothers are locked up and running away from the child support system, incredibly marginalized, in bad situations, unemployed. Black unemployment rate is 25, 30, 35%. So what you need to understand is that if we're playing this Game of Thrones in America, we're playing a Game of Thrones right now, and we are house Black people, right? And some of the Negroes done ran off and joined other armies because they scared to fight for house Black people. But if we want to fight for house Black people, we must understand the concept of family before we understand anything else. And families operate with codes of honor. Honor is big. I mean, Game of Thrones is a great example. My God, I love that show. Like, you know, they're all about honor. Like the Lannisters say the Lannisters always pay their debts. And so if you're a Lannister and you don't pay your debt and you got bill collectors chasing you down, you can't be a Lannister no more, because a Lannister will show up at your house and chop your motherfucking head off because you're disrespecting the name of the family, right? So that's it. That's my point. Let me finish going down the list of the symptoms of parental alienation. And I'm talking about this because we must understand how to maintain relationships, how to stay on code, how to resolve disputes, and how to build. Because when you're fighting, you're not building. When you're fighting, you're destroying. And if you spend all your time destroying, you can't spend your time building, because development and destruction are two opposite forces. They all take energy, but they go in very different directions. And tell me what you think. Do Black people as a community, are we spending the majority of our time building, or are we spending the majority of our time destroying? That's the issue. So here's another symptom of parental alienation. Please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Also, don't forget to subscribe at drboycetv.com. That's drboycetv.com. How you doing, Kelly DeClue? Good to see you. Kelly is a very, very smart Black woman. And just so you know, I haven't forgotten how smart you are. I know we haven't talked in a long time, but Kelly's very, when I think about Kelly, I think about smart. All right, so here's another symptom of parental alienation. It's what they call the independent thinker phenomenon. This symptom is a bit controversial. It's important to note that we're not criticizing children for thinking independently. There are some children who come in and they spontaneously say, Dr. Burnett, these are my ideas about my father or mother. I thought of this all by myself. Nobody influenced me. No, my mom didn't tell me what to say, but this is what I think about my father. In other words, the child goes out of his way or her way to say they thought about these ideas without being influenced by the alienating parent. When really, we know a lot of kids say things that are simply repeats of what they heard their parents say. You know, so it's really funny. Anybody have a child like that, or seen that with your kids, your nieces or nephews or whatever, where they will swear up and down that everything that they do and they say and they believe is like their own independent belief, when you know exactly where it came from? I can think of 1,000 examples, but I won't bore you with them. But it is kind of funny. Let's keep going. The other symptom of parental alienation in the child is an absence of guilt. Another symptom is absence of guilt. These children can be very disrespectful and say or do horrible things with absolutely no qualms. They show a disregard for the parent's feelings and emotions, and it does not bother them at all to do or say these horrible things about one of their parents. So again, going back to the myth that the black man has no feelings, you will have people that feel that it's okay to just say any horrible thing or any disrespectful thing to their parent or about their parent. And the thing is, I don't care how much you hate the person you had a child with. I think one good rule to have in the household is you will not disrespect your father. You will not disrespect your mother. You will not. It doesn't matter how much or whatever's happened or what you might have heard or whatever. You can feel how you want to feel about certain things, but you do not disrespect the other parent. If you let your child disrespect the other parent, then you are alienating your child from the parent. You are abusing your child because you're stealing one of your child's parents, and so they can be dependent on you, which means you don't love your child. You really just love yourself, because maybe you're scared of letting go of that child. You got parents out. You got some. I've seen mothers who are married to their sons. Their sons are their husbands. That's sick. That you're undermining his ability to have a healthy relationship with a woman. I had a friend like that back in the day. One of my homeboys. It made me so sad. This dude he had 2 girlfriends in a row that would call me. It was real weird when your friends' girlfriends are calling you. I'm like, why are you calling? What do you want? And each of them had the same complaint. They were complaining about his mother. Basically because there was a father in the house, but he was a very weak father, very passive, didn't really do what he was supposed to do. So she depended on her sons as her husbands. So and then one of the sons got locked up, and so she only had one son left. And this particular son was the husband. He was the man of the house for her. So whenever she needed something, she would call him. If she needed, somebody to run the store for him, she would call him. If she needed somebody to fix something, she would call him. And so he had a girlfriend, and I remember one of them said every single time she said he will be with her all day long, and then I'll come home from work. He comes to my house, and the minute I get to the house, she'll call me, or she'll call him and say, I need you to come home and take me to the grocery store. And so this young girl was competing with the boy's mother, because there was 2 women fighting over the same man. And I'm sorry, that's sick. That's horrible, because basically he never got married. He never had a healthy relationship with a woman, because every time a woman came around, his mama would start barking at her and make her go away, because she wanted the husband for herself. So basically, this idea of sort of becoming addicted to your child, or not letting your child grow up and move on, that's not love. That we disguise it as love for the child, but really it's not love for the child. It's love for yourself, because you're scared to lose that child, because you don't feel like you have anything else. So anyway, let's move on. Borrowed scenarios. Borrowed scenarios refers to how a child tells a story about something that happened. Their story will be the exact same story that their preferred parent has described. In other words, if we're doing an evaluation, we might interview the preferred parent. So they might interview, the mom or the dad, whoever the preferred parent is. They might tell us something about what happened with the targeted parent, the parent who's the victim of parental alienation. Then later, we interview the child, and the child gives exactly the same story and will sometimes even use identical words, right? Like I remember this one child that was where her mom had a baby with a friend of mine, and I remember that the mom would always say, I would see his mom, see the woman like every now and then. I'd be like, so what's going on with you and so and so? I'm not gonna say his name. And she would say, well, I can't be with him because he's silly. He's silly. That's what she'd say. She would say, he's silly. And I talked to the child, and the child, the man's child that he had with this woman, I overheard her say, yeah, he's just silly. He's silly, right? And it was literally the child repeating what the mother had said, which I thought was really fascinating, because children are influenced by their mothers, heavily. I know I was very influenced by my mother. If my mother didn't respect you, I was not going to respect you. Period. Didn't matter if you were a good person. Didn't matter if you were smart. Didn't matter if you were a better person than my mother. It didn't matter if you were good for me or not. If my mother did not respect you, I was not going to respect you. That's it. Let's see. The last symptom of parental alienation is spread of animosity. The final symptom refers to the spread of animosity to other people. In other words, if the father is the targeted parent, the child's hate spreads from the father to his family members, such as aunts, uncles, and grandparents. Even though these relatives have done nothing wrong, the child will suddenly hate them and never want to see them because of their connection to the father. In extreme circumstances, this animosity can even extend to the targeted parent's pets. So basically what they're saying is that spread animosity is when you say, I don't like, this, I don't like my dad. And because you don't like your dad and you don't want to see your dad, you don't go see them with the grandmother, you don't see the dad's sisters or brothers, you don't go see any of your cousins on that side of the family, you completely disconnect. And so what I would just generally say is, number one, it's like when you talk about this and you give advice on kind of how to deal with all of that, you think about both parents, right? So because everybody sees themselves as the good parent, right? But when we have parental disputes, if you talk to the mom, they're going to say, well, it's the dad's fault. The dad's going to say it's the mom's fault or whatever, right? Like I even see some people in here saying, oh, well, these men just make excuses. And then I see men saying, oh, these women, they're just blah, 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 right? But remember, at the end of the day, y'all got together and decided to make this baby, right? Y'all, whatever feeling you have toward that other person, you didn't always feel that way. There was a time where you were willing to give your life to this person because they could have slept with you and had AIDS or something, and you could have ended up, dying, right? So you're putting your life in the hands of that person because you had unprotected sex with them, which means it means you like them at least enough to take on, to risk it all. And so anyway, now with that said, I think one thing it kind of speaks to is, just thinking about the core of that, like when you're sleeping with somebody, just always remembering that this can actually result in a child. So what I tell young guys is that, if a woman would not be a good father, a good mother to your child, then don't sleep with that woman. Don't spread your seed into in a bad place. Don't put your seed into a toxic waste dump or someplace where, okay, you're sleeping with this stripper and because she's got a big booty, but that big booty stripper might be the mother of your child, and that's going to be tough for you to live with for the next 40 years. So ultimately, at the end of the deal, or at the, when it's all said and done, you got to think about who you sleep with. Or I tell women, I say, look, I know you like thugs. I know you like gangsters, and, you like men that the bad boys and all that. Well, just know if he's a bad boy now, there's a good chance he may be a bad boy when he becomes a father. And the question is, do you want your child to be raised by a bad person? If the answer is yes, then go for it. If the answer is no, then you might want to think twice about it. There are probably good men you could sleep with who are not going to beat you and try to kill you or ruin your life if you have a baby with them. Now, somebody says, can you please provide the title of the article? The website is dadsdivorce.com. And the title of the article is The 8 Symptoms of Parental Alienation. If you just look up symptoms of parental alienation on Google, you can find all kinds of references on this. The next thing I would say to anybody, who's, dating or whatever, is if you have a child with somebody and you choose not to marry them, and which I think is your right. I don't think anybody should force you to get married. Marriage is hard. It's long. You're with that person for the rest of your life. You're giving your life to that person. Just know that, like if I told you, I want you to join, I want you to come to my college and you're going to be in this college for 40 years. Like you would probably think twice about it, right? Well, marriage is the same way. You're in an institution for 40 years or 50 years or however long you're married. So don't let anybody pressure you into something like that. If somebody pressures you into marrying somebody, then just tell them like, well, why don't you go marry him? You take your life and sacrifice your life to be with this person because it's my life. I'm going to make the final decision. You can get advice, but don't let anybody talk you into or pressure you into stuff. I'm telling you, you'll regret it. You got to follow your heart, follow your instincts, your own logic. So anyway, if you choose not to marry the person, which I will never hold against you because I believe people have the right to do with it, whatever the hell they want, secure your legal rights. Secure legal rights if you can. So that might mean that if you want to be mature, maybe you just go to rocketlawyer.com or something and get a little contract. Get a little basic contract where you can both just kind of agree on what will happen in the event that the relationship terminates and how the visitation will go. All that stuff. And then that way you'll have a leg to stand on, because the problem is that if you do have a child with a woman and you aren't married, she's going to have pretty much all the rights. You have almost zero rights. Like she can take your child and do whatever the hell she wants, go wherever she wants, damn near. And it's very, very hard for you to fight back. So you have a few rights, but your rights compared to her rights are, slim to none. So some people would say, well, the solution to that is to marry her. And that's fine. I mean, if it's something you want to do it. But sometimes maybe you say, you know, I don't think I want to be married to this person, but I do have a right to be with my child. And I'm telling you, this is the same thing I'll say to ladies, like, look, just because a man don't want to marry you or just because he don't want to be with you, don't mean he don't have a right to be with his child. Stop that shit. You never, anybody who says that is not a good person. If you ever tell a man like, oh, well, you should have married her if you want to see your kids, what the fuck does seeing his goddamn kids have to do with whether or not he got married? Nothing. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's like somebody saying, well, if you didn't want to get raped, you shouldn't have wore that short skirt. Shut up. Just shut up. It's stupid. It's evil. It's mean. And it's not just abusing him. It's abusing that child too. It's abusing, because you got a lot of people out here pretending like they love their kids and they don't love their fucking kids. If you love your kids, you'll make sure that they get what they need. If you love your kids, you'll make sure they have access to both parents. If you love your kids, you'll get them a good education. A lot of parents out here claiming they love their kids and all they know how to do is buy them a pair of Jordans and some $200 jeans. They don't think nothing about anything involving their future or preparing them to have a successful life or to be happy, well-adjusted human beings. All they know is that I love my baby because I give my baby whatever I didn't have. I give my baby whatever he wants. Well, here's another news flash. If you spoil the hell out of your child, you don't love them then either, because what you're basically doing is you're loving yourself by making your child into your best friend, and you might be raising a really fucked up human being, but you're claiming that you love this child again, but your child ends up in therapy and humiliated and disappointed and disrespected by the world because they end up becoming a complete horrible loser, spoiled brat, or a piece of crap, and they don't know why no one likes them. They don't know why they can't succeed. They don't know why they're unhappy. They don't know why they're suicidal. Well, a lot of times it might be because when they were coming up, the people who were responsible for planting the values in them that would lead to success, prosperity, happiness, and good adjustment were not planted. And instead it was replaced with an endless stream of chocolate chip cookies and parades and rainbows and happy times and fun times and birthday parties, instead of actually giving them the discipline they need in order to become successful, well-adjusted people. So just understand that loving your child and spoiling your child are not the same thing. And in fact, some would say that they are two different things. If you spoil your child and you ruin your child, then you don't love your child. It means you love yourself. So that's my 2 cents. Spoil your child with love, sure. Give them hugs and kisses all day and all that. But these parents out here buying their child everything that they want and never holding their child accountable and all of that. I have seen that. I have been to that mountaintop. I have watched a child grow up from the age of 2 to the age of 40 with a mother who felt guilty because his father wasn't there and spoiled the shit out of him, bought him whatever he wanted, believed any lie that he told her, covered his ass in every fucked up situation that he created. He wrecked the car, she'd get him a new car. He'd go out and hurt somebody, she would cover for him. Keeping him out of jail time after time after time. And then I watched this young man grow up without any accountability whatsoever and become an absolute terror to any person he interacted with. Every woman he dated, she got her ass beat. Every situation he was in, he never held his responsibility. Any child he created, he never took care of the child. And all of that was because he was raised by a mom who told him since birth that your shit don't stink and you are perfect. And anything that happens to you is always somebody else's fault. And to this day, in his 40s, he still believes that shit. Why? Well, because his mother loved him so much that she thought that loving him meant spoiling him. And nobody likes a spoiled person. A spoiled person is like spoiled food. Spoiled food makes you vomit and it makes you sick. It is not healthy for you to consume spoiled food, and it is not healthy for you to engage or to have relationships with spoiled people. All right, that's it. So we said we talked about Nas and Kelis, and I wish them the best. But again, this conversation wasn't just about them. It's about, again, I always extrapolate. Extrapolate is when you take the story and you talk about the bigger issue, because the bigger issue is us. It's not Nas and Kelis. I mean, I wish them the best with that situation. I don't think it's right if it is the case that she's keeping his child from him. But I think in general, there is a conversation that should be had about what appropriate parenting looks like. And I would hope that just for our kids, we could do the best we can to act like we got some goddamn sense. So yes, kids do need their fathers. They need their fathers just like they need their mothers. So if you're a person that believes a child doesn't need their father, but you somehow swear that they need their mother, then you probably got an imbalance that needs to be corrected, because children need both. Tell me you agree, please. Let's just agree on that children need their mothers and their fathers, that they need both. Let's tell me if you agree with that. All right. And if you don't agree, then maybe I'm sure there's some feminist channel you can go join or something, maybe where white feminists will go tell you that black men are garbage and men are not necessary and all your kids should grow up to be gay or something. I don't know. I'm not that guy. So this wouldn't be the place for you. All right. So I'm going to go. Please hit the thumbs up button before you go. Please make sure you do that. Also, if you're on Facebook, please share this video to your page. Also, last but not least, don't forget we're on iTunes. So you can actually download, look up Boyce Watkins on iTunes. You can find my podcast on iTunes, or Your Black World. That's another channel we have on iTunes. So feel free to subscribe to either one. And then last thing is that if you want to support the platform, you want to get free stuff in exchange, you can go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. We would love your support so that we can continue to move forward and hire people and do all the things we want to do. And in fact, actually, so among many things we're going to do, I agreed to join Michi X and David Banner on their Black Agenda tour. So they're going to start, I think they're going to start in Detroit. I don't know the exact date, but I'm going to be there with David and Michi, and we're going to just do our thing out in Detroit. And they got some other cities. I'm going to try to join some of the other cities as well. All right, guys. So take care. Don't forget to watch Game of Thrones. Hell yeah, I'm going to watch Game of Thrones, Leslie. What you talking about, girl? I watched 2 hours of just summaries of Game of Thrones so I can understand all the craziness and the complications and the whole family tree and all that. So yes, I will be watching Game of Thrones, and also I will be watching Tiger Woods because I'm happy to see Tiger Woods making his comeback, and I want to see him do well at the Masters. I know Tiger's a controversial figure, and I ain't talking about Tiger the person. I'm talking about Tiger the golfer. He's been one of my favorite golfers. I want to see him do well. So take care, guys. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Be good. Peace.